Okay, good morning. Welcome to Balance with Joseph Wonder. The last time there was a brief introduction into our balance from within was referring to. Alright, so today we'll look at a texture of balance, the texture of balance. Believe me when I tell you that the most developed person in the world that has ever been or that will be is Jesus Christ. The most developed person is Jesus Christ. And he's not in the world presently, but he's still alive. So I wouldn't say was, I would still say is Jesus Christ. The Bible speaking about Jesus in the Gospel of Apostle Luke, chapter 2 and verse 40. It says, "And the child grew and waxed strong in the spirit, filled with wisdom, and the grace of God was upon him." Alright, and also in the same chapter of Luke, chapter 2 and verse 52, there was another exposition on Jesus. It says, "And Jesus increased in wisdom and stature and in favor with God and man." So the most developed person, because a man is a spirit, has a soul and lives in a body, like we all know. So it's very wrong to make a cliche out of spirituality. It's very wrong to make a career out of spirituality. Balance talks about equality, and if man has his tripartite, has both a spirit, a soul, and a body, the balance of a man's life must also cut across all these three facets, these three dimensions of his being. Alright, so just in case you are listening for the first time, like I said earlier, my name is Joseph Wonder, and this is Balance from Within. So do well to follow us and like this podcast. Alright, so the Bible talked about in the beginning. Okay, so let me do a quick recap on just a quick trace to see why there ought to be balance. Alright, so God was there in the beginning, and then we see his creations. Alright, he was creating with his word. His word was bringing energy, and his word generated energy that brought everything we see now into existence. Alright, so there were different forms of existence. He created the heavens and the earth. Alright, and then we see he created also not just the places of habitation, he's also created the creatures that habited these places. Okay, so he created the angels, and then from the earth he created man. So but we're a man, and we will not be discussing about angels today, at least not that I plan to do. Okay, so talking about the man, I made mention of it earlier that man has a spirit, and man is a spirit. Okay, it possesses a soul, a seat of consciousness. All right, and then he has a body. And this may still be a little bit vague until let me try to help us understand what this three part of the man means. Okay, so when I make mention of the spirit, I mean the spirit of man is the dynamic energy that sets his being functional. Alright, so without man's spirit, man cannot be functional. It is with the spirit God created the purpose, and with his spirit he brought him into existence, and this is his astral nature. Talking about not a material form. So the spirit of a man is his astral nature. Okay, and then when I said man possesses a body, or when man possesses a soul, okay, pardon me, the soul is a coherent force. It is the quality that makes each man different. Okay, it produces the man's psychology. The reason why all men can never be the same. You can trace a little bit of similarity to men, talking about every man have a body, but when you talk about the quality of a man, the nature of a man, men are not usually the same because of the soul. So the soul is the interplay between the spirit, that is the astral form, all right, and the body, that's the dense form. So it is responsible for the condition and the nature of man. So even though the astral form, the existence, the real the platform for the existence of man is there, what defines the nature and the condition of that man is his soul. All right, and that's why the scripture will tell us in the book of Proverbs chapter 4 that as he thinketh, that is as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Not as he was created in the spirit, as he thinketh. You think with your mind, which is a subset of the soul. Okay, and speaking about the body, we all know what the body is. Just a collection of atoms and cells, make up the physical body, and this is where the consciousness from the soul is manifested. All right, so a man's life is developed, is balanced when there is development spiritually, soul wise, and body wise. All right, so in subsequent podcasts we'll look into how to bring this balance, but today we should know that man does not just have a body. Man does not just have a soul. Man is also spirit, and man is first spirit before he had a body, before he gained access to a body. Right, the first man, Adam, was created before he was formed. And so if we are prioritizing the balance of a man's life, we will first start with the spiritual. Okay, because the Bible told us everything we see now came from being from what we do not first see. All right, so even in the subsequent podcast, which I believe we all would follow, there will be an exposition on how this balance can come, how that you won't spend too much time focusing on one and lacking in the other, and then the balance can be cut across. Right, so before I end today, I'll just give us the components of the spirit. We usually know the soul to have the will, the intellect, and the emotions, but the spirit also is made up of three components. The spirit has the conscience, the fellowship, and the intuition. Okay, the conscience it's very funny. The conscience is that thing that tells you what is right, and you don't know how you know, but you just know that you know, and that is your conscience right there. All right, and the fellowship is the space in our spirit to accommodate other spirits. All right, man as always was created with a vacuum that can accommodate other spirits, and the intuition is the ability of our spirit to know the right thing to do. All right, we know it by intuition. Conscience tells us. All right, so and the soul, looking at the components of the soul, we have the will, okay, ability to make decisions. We have the intellect. All right, this talks about the creative part of the man's mind. All right, then we talk about the emotions, okay, and that is the feeling. Okay, so man feels, man make decisions, and man thinks. All right, then talking about the body, the body is made up of just a system, okay, but it's made up of, sorry about that, the body is made up of, it has the muscles, the bones, and the tissues and all that. So this is, I believe, even at this junction that we are now, we should have a little tilt in your orientation towards life, because life is spiritual, but you see life tangibly. Okay, you experience life in your soul and you interact with life tangibly. That is talking about it being physical. Okay, the house you live in is physical and it's part of life. Okay, so even though life is spiritual, the same way a man is a spirit, does not neglect the fact that you can experience it or you can interact with it. Okay, so see you tomorrow. You stay tuned. I am Joseph Wonder. You keep shining and you stay blessed.